What's up, TW fans? We are out here on the water, kind of the first day of ICAST, and we're with the guys at Garmin. We're with Dave, and we're going to talk about the new Garmin trolling motor, something we haven't even seen yet. I mean, we didn't even know about this thing until we got on the plane to come out here, so this is totally new for us. So Dave, why don't you give us a rundown and tell us, what the new trolling motor is all about?
Sure, so we love keeping secrets and surprising the industry with just game changers. We've done it with LiveScope, we did it with Force, we've done it again with Kraken. And so Kraken is the next iteration of our Force trolling motor. So 4 years ago at ICAST, you remember we won Best of Show.
Oh yeah.
We didn't want to stop there.
Yeah.
So we took everything that we wish we could have put in Force 4 years ago and put it into Kraken. And so there's obvious differences, the color, 1B1. So it comes in black and white, 63, 75, and 90-inch shaft lengths. So it goes all the way up to the big boats.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't stop there. So you give them in black or white. The black versions only come in 63 and 75 because, let's be honest, not putting too many 90 inches on a bass boat.
Yeah, for real.
But they come, the 63, 75 black, they come with the GT56 built in. So you get best-in-class sonar built into the Kraken motor.
So that's a whole new update, like built into the motor itself.
All the way from ground up, this is a new design. So you can also notice is the pivot style design.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more compact. It takes up less room. It's easier to stow and deploy. You don't need the hydraulic assist. You don't need the lift. It's so light, you can literally do it with a couple fingers.
I watched you do it. I mean, you had it stowed up here on, on the front of the boat, and like you're saying, that footprint is way smaller.
Yeah.
And it was just effortless. You back the boat up, slid it right into the water, no problem.
No problems there. So the other thing is neat is when you push on the lever to stow or deploy it, the head can be pointed a different way. It auto parks in the position it needs to be to stow it.
That's a huge feature.
So another thing you just don't have to think about. You don't have to fight your motor and put it in the correct position to stow it. It just all happens magically.
Yeah.
So, but there's really those are like the obvious features, but let's talk about the advances in the technology into this thing.
Okay.
So the first off, it's the first in the industry with dual band GPS. So this technology was not even around 4 years ago. And so it's brand new. Garmin being a GPS company, we have a lot of leverages that we can use. So this has the best-in-class GPS built in. And so what that does is it makes anchor lock second to none.
So you're going to be way more accurate when you're out there, locked into position out there.
Absolutely. So when I say you're locked in, you're locked in.
Yeah.
And so so you get the dual band GPS. So, and let's be honest, LiveScope changed fishing.
Oh yeah.
Right? So if you don't have a LiveScope, you're fishing for second or you're playing.
You're way behind at this point.
You're playing. So we've integrated cable management into the Kraken. So there's no more service loops and mounting onto the barrel of the motor. It's built in. So you run the cable through the shaft.
Yeah.
And it's all self-contained. You'll notice that the mount is machined into the actual motor. So it was designed from day one to hold the LiveScope. So it just makes things so much easier, and running those LiveScopes a lot simpler and less things to go wrong.
We saw, that was one of the first things we noticed when we walked up to the boat, is how that system's mounted on there and how clean it looks, and that wiring's all integrated into the shaft itself. And just, I mean, you see the boats out there now with all the accessories you want to put on it, how cluttered things get, you got wires and stuff everywhere. That's a huge advancement.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. So again, it's just a game changer as far as, like, we've got gesture control. If you're familiar with the original Force, you can use the remote and it's gesture control. Whatever way you point the remote, it goes.
That's awesome too.
So it does that. You can drive it with your Garmin watch. So you can jog over with your Garmin watch. Everything's wirelessly. So we've got the wireless foot pedal. So you don't need to run, talking about having clutter and everything else. Yeah. You don't need all that stuff. It's all done wirelessly.
Just making it much more efficient. Being out there on the water, you have less stuff to worry about. Just making it simpler to be an angler, honestly.
Absolutely. And so there's also improvements in efficiency and power. So we still claim the most powerful motor on the market, and we hold that claim true today. We've tested every motor on the market, and we still believe that this is the most powerful motor on the market. Yeah. And so that's done with the brushless motor, 24 or 36 volts. It knows what it is, so there's no switch to flip, there's nothing. It's smart enough to know.
And so you're not messing anything up either when you're rigging it up.
You can't mess it up.
You can't mess it up.
So we like to keep it simple. So with power, and another neat feature, when we're talking back to anchor lock, one unique feature about this, the prop actually spins forward and reverse. So when you're in anchor lock, the head's not searching. So if you're used to anchor lock, you're in a hole, a foot about 2 feet.
Yeah.
And as the motor turns, it might shift you a little bit this way, and you drift back.
Yeah, but it's got to pivot all the way around whenever it's got to, adjust your position.
Absolutely. So we fixed that by the prop going forward and reverse, and also in variable speeds.
That's super cool. I never would have, didn't see that one coming, and I feel like that was a huge push forward for trolling motor technology, 100%.
Absolutely. So it's again, it's all about innovation. How do we make fishing easier and more efficient and more fun? And so let's take it a step further. So if you're familiar with Power Pole, we worked with Power Pole through the total boat control. And so we can wirelessly communicate with the Power Poles with a Garmin graph. And you can put your Power Poles down, you can raise them from the graph. That's nice and that's cool. But when you pair it with the Kraken, you get a whole nother level of integration.
Okay.
So it takes the depth from your graph in real time. Let's just say you have 8-foot power poles.
Okay.
And you're in 4 foot of water. And you deploy the Kraken motor. It takes in real time that depth number of 4 feet, and it will automatically deploy your power poles. You don't have to do anything.
That's awesome.
So when I say you're locked in, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to jog over a couple degrees. You jog over, it lifts your power poles. You move over, it puts them
You're
back
just eliminating
down.
a whole step. And you're not going to have to worry about forgetting about your power poles down there. I mean, I know everyone's done it. You go to take off, and you hit that brake, and you're stuck there. So it already knows that it needs to lift your poles for you. So one less step you have to do.
And to that point, let's say when you stow the motor, your power poles are down. You go to stow the motor, they automatically come up.
Another step saved.
Again,
I'm sure that's just, over the time you don't think about that stuff in like a tournament day.
Yeah.
Pulling the motor up, you're eliminating that step of putting the poles up, putting them down. Those couple of seconds, are going to add up to few extra casts and just overall save you time and hassle out
and
there.
Stress. You got, especially in a tournament situation, you've got
one
so
less
much
thing
going
you have
on.
to worry about.
Absolutely.
And one less thing you have to worry about damaging. If you forget about that stuff, you can end up with an expensive repair bill.
We've all
really
done
quick.
it.
Yeah.
So again, we're all about integration and how do we make it easier. And so again, Kraken just takes trolling motor to the next level with all these innovations.
It sounds like it. Well, one question on that system where the head doesn't have to spin around and to keep you positioned in one spot. The prop's going to spin forward and backward. Is that going to overall maybe save you on some battery life because you're not using any power to spin that whole motor?
It does.
It's just that's another huge thing for tournament guys. Everyone's always trying to manage power as best they can and save it. Especially long summer days on the water. Multi-day tournaments, saving that battery life. That's awesome.
Huge. Every minute matters, and so they're a lot more efficient. And again, it's less movement, it's less power draw, it's all that because it's smart enough to know what it needs when it needs it.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, thanks for coming out here and give us a rundown on the new Kraken trolling motor. If you guys want to get more details and check it out, make sure to head over to tacklewarehouse.com.